To the whole of them. Was it hard on Saturday against Everton?
Wow, Michael, you're on.
Yeah, it was very tough. I think the first 15 minutes we went 2-0 down, and we thought this could be a cricket score. It could be 7-8-9. But after that, the lads dug in. We got to go back before half time, and I thought we had a chance of getting the draw near the end. But I thought the lads were unbelievable. But that's probably the best team we've played. Well, I've played against in a long time, and you know, they're earning 60-70 grand a week. He's not far behind this lad here. So, no, it was a good experience, and we all enjoyed it, and hopefully we kick on now.
I think I've got to echo exactly what Mickey said then. I think the first 15 minutes was difficult. I think they're going to be the toughest opposition we're going to face all year. So that's one thing we can take from the game, is knowing that we tested ourselves against a good team, and I think the last 70-75 minutes we did really well. So it stands us in good stead for the rest of the season, and hopefully we can get where we want to go.
I think the experiences we had in the FA Cup run in the 16-17 season were really important, particularly the Arsenal game, because the second half felt like a very long time, and after going 2-0 down in the first 15 minutes at Everton, we were very concerned that it would get very difficult from there onwards. But I thought tactically we were set up well to play against Everton. We understood that they was maybe going to have 70% or more possession, so we had to be very solid defensively and have really good structure. And when we did have our counter-attack opportunities or our set pieces, we had to make the most of them. But what we have got in the group is a fantastic resilience and really experienced players as well that drive the standards, and you know their never say die attitude enabled us, after going 2-0 down, to get up against Everton and to keep fighting. And it was that spirit that I felt got us back into the game. And you know, to play maybe the next 60 minutes or so without really conceding a clear-cut chance against a Premiership opposition was something that I thought was a great experience, and was a fantastic effort from all the players involved. So we take a lot of confidence from the game against Everton, particularly in our defensive play, and we look to try to be equally as solid against the League Two opposition that we face for the rest of the season.
And, another one. Great question, by the way.
This is for Nicky. Who's your favourite Lincoln player and why?
And is he in the room?
Well, if I could merge Nicky O'Connor and Lee Frecklington together, it's a cop-out.
Who's yours?
Boswick.
Oh, there you go, Mum.
I think what's good about the Lincoln City players, I'm going to sit on the fence here, what is good about the Lincoln City players is they've all got different attributes. So Harry, my son, asks me this question a lot, and I always say to him, which is a true answer actually, is that they're all good at different things. Maybe they're not good at every single part of the game, but they're all very good at aspects of the game, and you need different players with different qualities to make a really successful team. And whether it's, you know, Michael Boswick being a warrior, or it's Nicky O'Connor and Lee Frecklington, you know, getting on the ball and getting us passing, or it's Matt Reed and John Akindi getting the final touch to score, they're all very important cogs of the wheel. So, you know, it would be very difficult for me to choose a... That's Danny texting me, sorry. I'm telling him to get a move on and sign some players now. So it'd be very difficult to choose. See, he's Danny. Look, he's the only person that texts me.
Honestly, it really is.
Nobody else texts me. It's only Danny. Not even my wife.
Get your haircut.
Says I like your haircut. No,
You can't
remember.
What player? I'm looking over his shoulder, it's all right.
So going back to your question, it'd be very difficult to choose one player because they're all very important to us in different ways.
Right, who's next? Right at the back. I'll head that way. Talk amongst yourselves.
Fellas at the back. Hi Nicky, this is a question for you, Nicky. It's a two-part question, I suppose. Do you use any specific hair product? Question number 2. How do you feel about the size of the squad, and what would you change if you could?
I was worried about the start of the second question. But to answer the first question, fortunately Alex Woodyard left a little bit of hairspray when he moved on to Peterborough, so I've run out now, as you can see tonight. Sorry, what was the second question? The size of the squad, I think we've got a very competitive squad. We've been able in the summer to bring nearly 2 players in to compete for each position, and what has happened is that 12 or 13 players have hit really good form, and that's shown in the 51 points that we've achieved in the 25 games. So it's been really difficult for the players outside the squad to actually find a way to get into the team, so they've had to remain really patient, and I must say all of those players have conducted themselves so professionally and been really supportive towards the group. We only have to look at some of the goals that we've scored. One of the things I always look for is our substitutes and how they celebrate, and you can tell that we've had a real togetherness in all of the teams that we've had since we've been here, and I'd like to think that that's a really important part of the football club, that everyone's selfless and puts other people first and thinks about the team before themselves, and that's hard to achieve in football because at times it can feel like a selfish game, but the size of the squad is good. Obviously it will be challenging to retain all of our players because they've played so well and they're in such good form, and obviously that's a shop window for other people to want to come and sign our players, because normally with recruitment people look at the teams that are doing well and look at the players that have been in good form. So we're under no illusions that we need to try to strengthen the squad ourselves if we want to try to remain in the position that we're in.
Right. My question is for you, Nicky. It's not really football related, but I think could be really important to this football club. How's your family and Danny's family settling down in Lincoln?
That's very nice of you to ask. Well, firstly, it's been in some ways it's been far easier for Danny and myself with the families moving up. Sometimes it's more difficult to watch as much football as I'd like, because I obviously have to share my time with my wife and my children. I'm only joking when I say that. I love them being here, of course, but it's been great. The children have moved into a school that they're very settled in, and that's been really important for both Danny's wife Kate and my wife Lauren, because I think the first thing that you worry about when you're moving is your children and how they're going to settle in a new place with new friends, and the opportunities that they've had at the school has been amazing. So we're very grateful for where they go to school, and we're also settled in the houses that we're in at the moment. So I have to say, the Lincolnshire people have been absolutely wonderful to us, and to my mum and dad that come up to the games as well, and they've moved into the area. So it really does feel like we're at home now, rather than when we go back to Essex on the odd occasion. It feels quite strange. So it's a great place to live, with so many fantastic people that have been so supportive. I do keep reminding the girls that if we do start losing, it might get a little bit more challenging. The plan is to keep winning.
Question for Nicky, really, I suppose. At what point during the week do you actually pick the team? What day? Is it a special day? And who picks it?
Well, behind the scenes, there's a team of people working that are doing lots of analysis. So, what all of our job is for Danny is to try to support him in every way we can, to try to make the decisions very clear, and to select the team, there's always so many different variables and circumstances, so there's never really a set rule as to what day you'd pick it, because sometimes you might play in a fixture where you turn up and it's a really strong wind, and that might change tactically what you decide to do. So, you know, sometimes the team can be left later. Normally, we like to do as much preparation as we possibly can and give the players as much thinking time with regards to that they're playing, and they know what their roles and responsibilities are. So in an ideal world, on a Saturday week, the team normally starts to become quite clear on a Thursday when you're running through your team shape. However, you know, in football, it's a temperamental game, so that's always, you know, subject to change. But fortunately, like I said earlier, our players are really driven by the team's process and the performance, so they're always willing to put the team first. And if they do find themselves, you know, not in the starting 11 and on the substitute bench, then they put their disappointment to one side and put the group first, and that's what makes us so proud of them.
This one is for Nicky again. Sorry. Again, on the whole, he's settling well in Lincolnshire. Does that mean that there's no chance you'll be leaving anytime soon?
No, we've only just moved here, and in mine and Danny's opinion, we've only just started. There's lots more work to do, and we're very much motivated and looking forward to creating some more, you know, fantastic memories.
Right, now I did promise that I would do a few. I'll come to you two guys next, but I just wanted to do a couple off the internet. So this one's for Lee. Give the gaffer a bit of a rest. So Lee, how much has the club changed since you were here last time?
This is the question I probably get asked the most. My answer normally is I don't think you can compare the two. From when I left here 10 years ago to what it is now, it's just completely different, both on the field and off the field. The biggest thing probably that I noticed was the fans and the support we get. That first game for me against Notts County almost a year ago this week, stepping out on that pitch and hearing the noise coming from that far stand was something that I'd not experienced for a long time. And I think that's when it hit me just how big I wouldn't say challenge, but how big a thing we're building here. And that's obviously what's carried through and got us to where we are today. So the one thing for me is the fans, and then along with that is the training ground that we've now moved into. That's on a level that's a lot bigger than League Two. When I was here previously, we used to arrive at Sincilbank in the morning, and we didn't really know where we were going to be, whether it be Cherry Willingham School or City School or the park at Cannock. We never really knew, and for now, for us to have a base where we can work and to know that we're going to be in familiar surroundings every day that we can get used to, I think that can only benefit the club and drive us on to another level.
Thank you very much. And one for Michael. How do you think the season's gone so far, personally and for the team?
Yeah, I think as a team, it's been a great start. You know, 51 points from 25 games, that's 2 points per game. So if you do that towards the end of the season, you're more likely to be promoted. That is the aim for us. I think personally, I've done okay. You know, I missed most of last season through injury. So to come here, missed a bit of pre-season. I've got myself fit, and I think at the minute now I'm probably at the top of my game fitness-wise. So I'm hoping to kick on the last 4 or 5 months and get this team into League One, and that's my aim.
I suppose leading on from that, so the guys, we talk about people behind the scenes, and in yourself's case, fitness. So the guys here must be doing a fantastic job for you personally.
Yeah, me personally. You know, I missed, I think it was 10, 11 months last season. Came here not knowing if I'd play this many games. You know, everything from the Gafford and Nicky, the Luke Cowley, Mike Hine, Luke Treadwell, they've all been top class for me. They've looked after me when I've been struggling a bit with my knee. But they've got me fit, and you know, this is probably the fittest I've been in the last 4 or 5 years, and this is credit to everyone behind the scenes.
Well, I think we're very pleased about that, aren't
Yeah, this is to Michael and Lee. Lee was obviously a young player at Cincinnati a few years ago, and obviously a young youth team player coming through. What advice do you two have, and what guidance do you give to the young players coming through at the minute?
For me personally, I think the biggest thing you can give a young player is they're in that situation, they're at a football club because they've got a talent. And I've played with lots of players that have the talent, but they don't have the thing between the ears that you need to make it to the next level. So I think a lot of it is attitude. And when I do speak to the youth team players, it's trying to get across to them just how important it is to work as hard as you can at your game. They've obviously, like I said, they've got something, but something is not enough. You have to work on that on a daily basis. Whether you're doing a running drill or a heading drill or anything you do, you've got to do it to the best of your ability. And if you do that, then you give yourself the best possible chance to make a career in the game. And I always say it's the best job you could ever have, so it's worth doing it in your youth team days. It's 2 years of your life to sacrifice, to give everything you've got in order to make yourself the best career you possibly could. And we're fortunate now, we've got the training centre, and there's a lot of effort gone into the youth development side of it. So everything is in place for them to improve, to train themselves, to better themselves, yeah. So they've got no excuses now. They've got a decent training ground, that's what I'm trying to say. So, yeah, with that, we're going to have some future players coming through, hopefully.
Yeah, I think he's just said what I was going to say. Everything. No, I think he's right. I think when I was a young lad coming through, I was lucky enough to break into the first team pretty early and train with the first team when I was 17. So I had people around me that were helping me. And the thing with me, I would have asked a lot of questions to a lot of the older pros and got a lot of insight on how they got to the top of where they are. And you know, we've got a few lads coming through now at the minute that are training with the first team. We've got young Jordan who's pushed on and he's looking good. So it's just trying to work hard every day and just listen to the older pros like me and Lee. That's it basically, yeah.
People say senior too.
Old.
This one's for Nicky. You and Danny have managed to get some players which we'd probably say are well out of our reach, definitely a couple of years ago. People who are, championship, potentially even pushing towards premiership experience. What do you tell them to convince them to come to our club?
Well, I think the first sentence that normally comes out of Danny's mouth when he's trying to sign a player is just to talk about the fantastic support that we've had over the last 2.5 years, and to have 10,000 more Lincoln City supporters crammed into Cincilbank creates a pretty special atmosphere. And I think when you come to Cincilbank nowadays, I think it's a different type of atmosphere than maybe what you receive when you go to watch a Premiership match, because it's got a real old school feel about it, and it's the football I remember when I was a young person going to watch West Ham with my mum and dad and Danny. And that's really special, and that's been something that we've been able to create over the last couple of seasons. Also, we are able to now sell the fantastic training ground that we've been able to gain after the FA Cup adventure. You know, for the club to reinvest that money into something that's going to be there for a long time for the football club is great, and that gives us, a much greater opportunity to develop not only the first team players, regardless of what age they are. Danny and myself always believe that any player can improve and develop in their game, whether they're the youngest player in the squad or the oldest. And to have that facility really gives us the opportunity to do that. But also the infrastructure of the football club now, because when we first come to Lincoln, I think we walked into the office on the first day and it really did feel like there wasn't many people around at all. There was kind of only 4 or 5 full-time people working, and to now be in a place where Alan was 2 of them. to now be in a place where we're starting to rebuild the club off the pitch, I think will make a huge difference moving forward. because results do go wrong, bad results happen. You don't win every game, so what you need is a real solid base to work from, and I think that's been something that we've been able to achieve in this past sort of season or so, and want to continue to keep trying to move forward with. And if we can keep trying to develop the academy as well, then that will make a huge difference to us bringing young players through that can generate more income for the club.
This is a question for Nicky. How do you analyse each and every football match after it's been played?
What, our own performance? Is that our own performance or?
Yes, your own performance.
Yes. So what we do is we divide the pitch. It's going to be a long answer to. They have to listen to a lot of analysis, so they've had enough of it by now. So we try to divide the pitch down into thirds. We look at that out of possession and in possession, and then divide the restarts. Then that kind of gives you a good feel of the whole match, because there's often parts that you do well in possession and parts you sometimes could improve, and likewise out of possession as well. So you have to kind of realise that in football there's like a 50-50 split with the in and out of possession. So your analysis has to be balanced. It can't just be on one aspect of the game. And then once we use a piece of software called Huddle, and we clip the game, and we clip the game based on good or bad moments. And then normally on the Monday, once the emotions have settled a little bit after the Saturday game, we sit down as a group, and it's not just Danny and myself leading from the front, it's all of the players that are taking responsibility as well to comment and to give us their feel of what they experienced during the game, because it's so important that we listen to them as well after a performance, because otherwise if we just are doing all of the talking, then it's not so possible for them to maybe take out of the learning experience what we need them to. So I think it's something that we all need to share and own together as a group, rather than just Danny and myself dictating from the front.
This is to Nicky to start with. Since Burnley, how important do you think the sort of development of set pieces have been in your game? Because obviously a lot of teams became aware of Sean Raggett's goal, and how many new set pieces have you had to create since then?
Well, the set pieces are a really important part of the game. I think we'd worked out that the game maybe restarts around 90 times, so you need to be organised both in and out of possession with your restarts, because it's an interval sport. It's gonna stop and it's gonna start, and that is difficult for players, because sometimes it affects their flow and rhythm of the game. And in possession, you're always trying to create a flow and a rhythm. Sometimes in some games, you're trying to slow it down tactically, depending on the opposition and the moment and the game management. But we like to use a phrase that we call one team thinking. So if one person was to say a certain word, everyone understands exactly what that set piece routine or move is, and that kind of generates alignment between players, because it's quite difficult to get everyone thinking the same thing when you've got 11 bodies running around under high pressure. And if you can achieve that, and we use these game calls, then it requires the delivery, which fortunately at Everton we had Mickey's delivery, which I thought was fantastic for us. And then it requires aggressive runs and real bravery. And if you get it all coming together, then it gives you a chance of scoring. And fortunately, in some of the real big games that we've had, and even goals we've scored this year, we've worked out a lot of our goals have either come from starting from throw-ons, or the FA Cup games we've had some big goals from corners, and the important goal against Everton to get us back in the game from the wide free kick. So you need to put real importance into every moment of the game, and particularly the restarts.
Nicky, you're a thinking management team clearly. Who inspires you in football management, and inspires you with some of the strategy around where you go from here?
I think what you're always trying to do is to try to update your methods, because you never want to become stale. You always want to be fresh and to have new ideas and move things forward. So fortunately nowadays with social media, there's so many different outlets that you can look at to try to learn from other people, and that's not just to say that's big name managers. That could be anyone. So you try to stay open-minded because you can learn from different people in different ways, and sometimes outside of football, you can learn from business as well. We mentioned before with Clive Woodward was a big influence when we read his book on winning, and mostly that book was about business, and we took a lot of ideas from him and used it in the school that we worked at the time, and have transferred some of it across to sport as well. But I'd have to say the first influence on Danny and myself would have been my dad, because he was our manager of our teams when we were growing up, playing for Gideon Park Range on a Sunday morning, and I will always remember the way that he treated people with respect and the way he listened to people, and most importantly the way he got young people enjoying playing football. And I still think, even with the senior players, when they come into work every day, you have to make sure that they are enjoying what they're doing, because otherwise, these guys, everyone thinks it's a fantastic job to be a professional footballer. Let me tell you, it's actually a really tough job, because psychologically the game's on their mind all of the time. Like Nicky mentioned earlier, their last season, not playing for so many months and just rehabilitating inside and desperately trying to get back, and then the pressures of playing for their family and for their wives and the kids and their livelihoods, and it's not easy at all. It's not always as glamorous as what people think. So I think to answer your question, in summary, I would say that you can learn from all different people, and there's so many inspirational people out there. And if you do keep trying to learn every day, hopefully you can pass that on to the people you work with. But I think the most people I work from watching our games is our players, because every time they perform, their body language, the communication they use always gives me something to work with, and that always gives me a lot of planning for my next training session.
Yeah, just two questions. The first one's to Michael. It's just that you seem to be enjoying playing with Lee in central midfield, and you both seem to up your game when you play together. Can you just let me know what qualities Lee has that you like to play? And the second one is to Nicky. It's I listened to a national radio station on Friday night, and there was a well-known Lincoln City blogger on there on Friday night. He said that he was asked to describe the difference between Danny and Nicky Cowley. He said one of them talks an incessant amount, and the other one is quite withdrawn. I'd like you to let me know which one you
I played with Lee before at Rotherham. Had 3 years with him there. He's not a League Two player. Like a very lucky to have a player like Frex. He's back home. He came here because he knew the ambition of the club, and he'll be playing with. I've got Sean Pett as well. He can play midfield. Ellis Chapman. So we've got good competition for places in midfield, and it's always good to be on your toes. If you have a bad game, he could be out of the team. So keep you on your toes. But he's a top player, and it's hopefully he gets another promotion this year.
I think Danny's definitely the more talkative one. But you need a balance in any management team, and I think we try to strike that. We're both very enthusiastic, high energy people that want to make the most of every day and always want to improve. And it's the biggest skill is probably to try to talk just the right amount, because otherwise, particularly the players, they can become quite stale if the conversations are too long or the meetings go on for too great a time. So we've always kind of got each other on a stop clock, because enough is enough sometimes. And I think trying to say the right amount and be really concise is a great skill, and that's hard to achieve sometimes, but it's something that you strive to do.
So I've got one off the World Wide Web for you, Lee. Personally and for the whole club, how do you think the season's gone?
I think it's gone pretty well. I think to be to top of the league at this stage of the season, and obviously suggests that things have gone well. But part of me, with my professional head on, thinks that there is improvement, and I think at times this season we've not reached our levels that we know we're capable of, and I think the challenge from now until the end of the season is to try and do that on a more consistent basis. And I think if we can get to our levels most weeks, it gives us a great opportunity to win football matches, and ultimately that is what we're here to do, and that's our aim for the rest of the season.
Brilliant. And for Michael, now some may know there's a team down Nottingham County or something, I don't know. So the question is, how have you found the transition from Notts County to Lincoln City?
I think I've made the right choice. I just think it's miles apart. You know, Lincoln are in a transition now where they're going up, and Notts County are going down. That's sure you can see on the table. No, there's a big difference. We've got our own training ground here, which is massive. You know, for any football club, any football player, you want to be based at one site, and you know we've got great facilities there with 3 great pitches, and no, I think I've definitely made the right choice coming to Lincoln. And I wish Notts County all the best, but I made the right choice.
Always so, don't we? Right. We've got time for a couple more questions. I'll come to you for the last question. So no pressure at the back there. Do you think it'll be a good one? Does anybody know it? No. Okay. Right, in that case, I'll have you two as well. So go on.
As being captain, how do you inspire the rest of the team when you're playing a match and you're losing?
Out of the mouths of babes.
Thanks for that one. For me personally, I think everyone uses the word captain as like the main focal point of a team, but for me personally, I think we have to have a captain in all of us. It's not just one player that makes up Lincoln City, it's 11 plus the subs that come on. So I don't feel a sole responsibility that when we're losing a football match, this lays on me. But what I do feel is that in that role, for me personally, I'm a person that wants to lead people by what I do more than what I say. So I'd like to think that if we are losing late on, or the game's not going as well as we'd like it to do, I'd like to maybe try a little bit harder, or run a little bit more, or try and get somebody going some way. But like I said, the football team needs 11 people, not just one.
Right, you have one down here?
I've got a question for Ollie. In your opinion, what is the best match you've ever played at or been at, apart from Everton?
This is a tough question, because for me, football is emotional with me, and I think the game that sticks out for me, not for the achievement of it, but for more the sentimental value, is as I was growing up as a little lad like you, Leeds was always my football team. So
it could have been worse.
yeah, we don't like Man U. So I think if my football career was going to finish tomorrow, which God forsaken it doesn't, the one game that would stick out for me on a personal level would be a few years ago for Rotherham. We played Leeds away on my dad's 50th birthday, and if anyone knows me, old man, he's a massive Leeds fan as well. So that day I managed to captain Rotherham to a 1-0 win at Leeds. So walking out at Ellen Road for me is my Wembley. So walking out there with all the Leeds fans in the Cop End singing Marching On Together, I had to stop myself from singing the song myself, even though I was playing for Rotherham. But we managed to go there, and like I said, we won the game 1-0, and it was my old man's 50th birthday as well. So I think that will probably be one of my favourite games, along with the Lincoln Wembley one, obviously. I think to go to Lincoln, to go play at Wembley, but to play at Wembley for your hometown club and win, obviously was a massive thing for me personally.
Right, here we go. The big question is about to come.
I just want to know from all of you, really, in the sense of in the dressing room before the game, who's the biggest joker and who's the most serious?
Jack's serious, probably. Facts. First couple of minutes.
The biggest joke is sat to my left.
In what way?
Most things that happen at the training ground or the football club, the first person that you think of is Michael O'Connor. Whether that's because I've known him the longest but if anything ever happens straight away, the name Michael O'Connor comes to mind.
It's him that starts it.
I'd say the most serious, that's a difficult one because I think we're quite a professional bunch and we all want to win.
So you're up there?
I'd like to think I'm up there, yeah. Yeah, I'm quite serious when it comes to match day because I think it's really important. I like to get myself in the right frame of mind. I'm probably going to say Josh Vickers as well. Josh Vickers is very professional, very methodical in what he does before a game, and if there's one who looks serious before the game, I'd probably say Josh.
And also, obviously the new training ground, obviously as you said, it's a fantastic place, and obviously right next to the home of the Red Arrows. Have they ever put you off a shot?
I've used it as an excuse sometimes.
I thought you were going to ask him if he's ever flown a red arrow.
Question to Nicky. It's about your brother, unfortunately, though. On Saturday, Wetherspoons, about 12:40. I'm drinking a pint and your brother rocks up. Whose idea was it for him to rock up? Because I tell you what, you would never get any other manager to do that, and I tell you what, it's the most amazing thing ever. Really was.
And why didn't you get an invite?
I was packing up his stuff from the hotel room. That's what assistants do, Alan. Yes, no, it was. I saw on the social media after the game the atmosphere that you guys generated down there was fantastic, and it was a last minute thing because the boys were on the coach, and Clive Nates mentioned to Danny that there were so many supporters, just around the corner, so it'd be good to quickly pop in and greet them, and it's just fantastic, more fantastic memories that were created because. I think from all of the games, that what you don't get as a management team or member of staff player is you don't always understand the atmosphere before the game. And after Danny had come back, he said to me, "Well, maybe we should have taken the players just to show them." Thinking about how seriously Frecklington is, it might have put him up in that. So maybe not a good idea, but no, it was. What can I say about the Lincoln supporters? Incredible. And at Everton, we got another flavour of what you guys can generate, and it just makes such a huge difference, and we're so grateful for all the support that you give us.
Right, literally, I've got time for one more question. I'm going to go to, that's a penalty, red card. See that? No, I know what they're always going on at fourth officials, come on. You must have seen it, surely. High five.
Booking for diving.
It's a question for Lee. Checker trade semi-final. Penalty. You caused my Apple Watch to go off about 6 times. My heart rate went absolutely bum 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 bum. At the moment you stepped up to take that penalty, what was running through your mind?
Don't miss.
Besides, don't miss.
Apart from the obvious, yeah, don't miss. I had this question immediately after the game, and I answered it then the same way I'll answer it now. Before I left the house, my daughter kept going on to me about going to Wembley. I managed to play there when she was 1 in a Rotherham playoff final, but obviously she's got no memories of that, she just sees the photos. So when she knew we had that game and a chance to go to Wembley again, I did not want to be the person to go home and say, "I'm really sorry, but your dad's missed the penalty. We're not going to get to Wembley." So obviously I didn't realise until afterwards just the noise that was happening while I was going to take the penalty, because all I was focused on was trying to put the ball in the back of the net and hoping that the club could get that first trip to Wembley. And thankfully the keeper dived the wrong way and it went in the corner and we managed to go there and win.
I've got to start, I've known Lee since he was a little babby, well not a babby, and for him to come back and do that must have been fantastic. I had a tear in my eye and I'm sure you all did as well. It was fantastic. Well done, Lee. Right, so we have come to the end of this little bit. We're going to do the draw in a minute in case you have won. So just hang on there. But I'm sure you'd like to join me in thanking Mr. O'Connor on the end there. Give it up. Of course, Lee Frecklington. Now, I had a significant birthday not too long ago, and these chaps came to my birthday, Dan and Nick. I know, I don't look 40, do I? And I did a straw poll on the night, you know, because I do get asked this a lot. Who's the best looking of the two? It's him. Ladies, yes? Yeah. There you go. You heard it here first. Give it up for the best looking Cowley, Nicky Cowley! Oh dear.